So today we've got Cath Howard here. Cath, thank you for making some time today.
Thank
You
you.
are running for the supervisor position for Augusta Township. We've got 5 questions. They're all related to that position. And I'll kick it off with this first one that's about government operations, specific to Augusta. What is your long-term vision for our township, and what are your top 3 priorities if elected?
My long-term vision is to have I'd really like to have a discussion, whether it's town halls or additional surveys or more work on our master plan, to really get a feel for what residents as a whole can see as being reasonable for what is acceptable growth and not acceptable growth in our township. I think that something that has been desperately missing in our approach is growth is coming. Growth has been coming since it was established in 1837. But what hasn't happened is a thoughtful discussion about what is acceptable and how do we pre-plan for that. And I think that's going to be necessary. I think every time we've had anything occur, there's been a lot of complaints, and some of it has worked out okay, and some of it people are still upset about, and yet we didn't pre-plan, and we didn't prepare, and we didn't set our limits ahead of time, and we didn't set our expansions ahead of time either. And I think that's really necessary to do. So that's one. What was the other part of that?
Long-term vision, and what are your top 3 priorities?
Um, One, we're going to have to address our water infrastructure, and that is such a terribly touchy subject because so many people are very concerned about just the cost. They complain about the water sewer bills, but actually, what is the high cost is operations and maintenance. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to go down unless we have more people on the system. More people on the system means either expanding the system or bringing more people in. And the reality is, we undercharged for at least 10 years. We underestimated the actual cost of operating the system. But I don't think we've done a very good job of actually demonstrating how our money has been spent, where it wasn't spent, and what's happening with it now. So that's one thing. The other is just increasing our interactions with the community. And that's a very high priority for me. I think people have to feel like they can reach out and touch and talk. Maybe not touch exactly, but touch, reach out and talk with their governmental representatives. We're representatives. And so we have to represent, and we have to be in touch with them. And I think that's extremely important. And it's all of them. People who live in the manufactured home parks, people who live in subdivisions, people who are farming, people who are living just in rural residential. People who live, we have apartments here that people don't even think about, but there are apartment dwellers here. We have to think about everyone that lives here.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Interpersonal skills. What does effective communication mean to you, and how do you achieve it?
Well, one, I can talk. Everybody knows that. But I think the other part is you have to be able to look at other people's points of view. You may not always agree with someone on everything, but you have to be able to. People don't have a point of view just out of nowhere. There's something that informs that, and the only way you ever come to any kind of consensus or even an agreement to disagree is you have to be able to understand where they're coming from. And I do think that I have that ability. I mean, I've been a social worker my entire career, which started in the 70s. And even though I'm retired, I still participate in things like that. And I have to be able to understand and listen to people and see their point of view, no matter what walk of life they're in, and no matter how different it might be from mine. And I think that I have done that pretty much my whole life.
Awesome. Around leadership abilities, how do you plan to keep the community informed and involved in township decisions and initiatives?
Well, first of all, I have no problem with disseminating information. I have done that ever since I joined the board, and I have done it the last 4 years since I've been off the board. The other thing is that I'm pretty much, my phone number has been available to people, and I respond, when I was on the board, I responded to people. I didn't always have all the answers, but I would at least, I'm available to be contacted. I believe in providing information. There, one of the things that my philosophy is, I'm not responsible for what other people do. I'm responsible for what I do. And one of the things that I can do is I can provide as much information as I have that I think others might be interested in or feel like it's necessary. If they don't use it, or they don't listen, or I can't do anything about that. But I do have control over whether or not I make an effort to make as many things available to a person as I can. And that's how I've always been. And I don't plan on stopping that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Around management skills, how do you plan to balance growth while maintaining the rural character of the community? So you kind of touched on that in the first question about long-term vision, but again, just balancing that growth with maintaining the ruralness of Augusta.
Well, ideally, I think that should be in the forefront, not only of the board's mind, but also in the planning commission's mind. I think that should be, and I think that should be like the theme of whenever we're considering things, how does, what did we love? There's like a saying in Native Americans talk about seven generations back, 7 generations forward. I really like that thought. What is it that we love from our past? What is it that we like about what we have today? And of those things, going forward, what is it that we want for our generations going forward? And how do we take what we loved from then, what we love now? And there are things that are going to come in our future that are not exactly what we've had before. But what can we do? How do we think about what it is that we can embrace, and what can we keep? And of the things that we don't love, what are the things that will probably come whether we love them or not? How can we make them tolerable? And that's not a panacea answer. That's like, let's be as realistic and as proactive as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been missing for a long time. If we want the village of Willis to be attractive, then we have to write ordinances. They don't have to be overwhelming, but do we want seaside buildings, or do we want something that has brick facade or wood siding? Or do we want things with peaked roofs, or do we care if they're like flat and you can see the HVC stuff? I personally like charming. Maybe the majority don't care, but I think we have to have those conversations, and we have to be proactive about it, mm-hmm. and we have to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Last official question: township issues. What is our number one issue for Augusta Township at the present time?
I think we have become in many ways, we've become very contentious lately. I've been here 22 years, and we've always had a contentious board since I've been here, but it had not been so contentious widespread among the community. And I would like to get back to more of a neighborly environment. We can't grow a beautiful community if we're fighting with each other and if we're constantly mistrusting each other. So we have to build trust, and we have to build a sense of community with each other. And it's not just having parades, and it's not just having good audits. It's having a sense, I think, whether I agree all the time with this person or not, I think they're trying to do a good job. And we have, and I believe, whether I agree with this person or not, I think they have the best interest at heart. They're trying. And I think we have to, and that's not just at the board table, that's people in the audience, that's my next door neighbor, that's all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it can't be, oh, those folks from the trailer park, they're doing this. Oh, those folks that moved from the city 2 years ago, they're doing that. Oh, the people that have been here for so long, they're not, they don't welcome. We have to embrace each other. And yeah, that does sound kind of goody two-shoes, doesn't it? But it's part of being a community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as small as we are, I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
And it's what people liked about it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That concludes our official, and we do have some time left. And so if there's anything else you'd like to say in these remaining couple of minutes to anyone that decides to watch our videos, now's your chance.
I think one thing is I really encourage people to get to get involved. That not just when something upsets you or you think something sounds weird, that if you have the opportunity to attend meetings and find out things, to understand what's going on, because sometimes there's more going on than people realize. I know the other day somebody wanted to know, can we spend money to like help people get assistance with their homes, and helping them with roofs and things like that, and without knowing that, like for 10 years we've been involved in a program that I got us involved in a program that actually helps to do that, because there are things that are going on. And so one of the ways you find out is by participating, and that's how I got involved. My husband said, do you want to go see a board meeting? And I said, okay. And that's how I got involved.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a board meeting and I listened and I asked questions and I started to learn more and more. And that's how I got interested. And the more interested you get, the more you get involved and you do things that are helpful to your community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a great community. I don't plan on ever leaving it. So.
Thanks, Cath. Thanks for taking the time
Thank
today.
you.
We appreciate it.